Hi, it's Rachel. We are in this earth reality that is like a womb. And that analogy of a baby growing in the womb is very analogous to our journey here in our soul development. And that's what I want to talk today about, because this perspective, I think, will bring a lot of understanding and clarity to some of the things that we go through, and thus how we can go through them and move forward to what our true desires are, which is ultimately to find that oneness with our Heavenly Father, to be in a place where our soul is so connected to Him that His divine will consumes our will, that His divine love consumes our love, so that as we love, His love flows through us and consumes it. As we act according to our will, that is actually His will that is governing us, so His will consumes it. And that's quite the journey, but that is the journey that we have in this earth existence, which is like the womb state. So I want to dive into that a little bit. So when you look at this analogy, and remember that everything of the physical is a shadow of the spiritual that's used to teach us spiritual things, because what is truly real and everlasting is not this earth experience of our flesh, of this flesh experience, okay, under the flesh veil, but it's the things of the spirit, of the things of God. And so that's why so often we have to go beyond what we see to really understand the underneath of what's really happening, okay? Because the physical, if you're just trying to understand by that, you'll never understand. When you go and understand the spiritual that's affecting the physical, then you'll start understanding what the physical means. But something that's very important to understand is the physical and the spiritual aspects of life are two sides of the same coin, okay? What you do physically directly impacts your spirit and your soul. What happens in your spirit and your soul directly impacts your physical, okay? And sometimes we don't see the manifestations of that in either one, but that's what's happening within us. Okay, sometimes it's only over time that we see the ramifications. For example, if you are someone that's always eating what's bad for you, you may not know it the moment that you are eating those things. But down the road, your body, it is affecting your body instantly within. But sometimes we don't see that, but it is affecting it. And sometimes we don't see those effects until we're older. And then we have to live with all the ramifications of not having taken care of ourselves, okay? But the effect is instant, okay? Whether it's going from the physical to the spiritual, or the spiritual to the physical, in terms of how they impact each other. So when you're in this, why this is the womb is, one, we're in darkness here. And I've been talking about this in some of my past blogs, okay, the last couple of ones. And you see that because everybody has their own perspective of what is true. And there's no defining truth even to who our Heavenly Father is, because it's dark here. It's like as if we're all blind. So people cannot see. The only way you see is by the faith that you have, which serves as a light, but it's not the light. Okay, because in the womb, just like in a womb, it's dark. Okay, and you can't see but you can have a sense of knowing, and you can learn and understand. Okay, so what happens is, once we come into this flesh life, we get the handprint of this world around us. So as you're born as a child physically, that's what you get. So your soul is sort of imprinted with many different things, okay? Your basic personality that you have, the experiences and spirit that your parents had as they were raising you, that has a great impact. the people that you were around. All of these things craft our perspectives, shape our desires, shape our beliefs, and that affects what happens in our reality. Your reality is created from within your soul, your experience of it. That's why two people can perceive and respond to the same situation completely different. Okay, it is which can create completely different outcomes because it's coming from our soul. So our soul is the most important thing that we can focus on here, because our soul, which we want to be a part of divinity, okay, because in that it's in complete peace, it can love perfectly, it has all the wisdom that it'll ever need, it has rest, it has tranquility, it has all the things that we desire. So it's this life here is all about our soul development, just like when a child's in the womb, it's all about that child developing and growing. That's what our place is here. And what we learn through this womb experience are many valuable lessons that ultimately help us to come into a unity of harmony with the Heavenly Father, even though we have a free will. It's our free will that's exercised in this womb state with total freedom to do whatever we want. And by that we learn what is good and what isn't. Okay, we learn what is error, what is contrary to God's ways, what is harmonious and what isn't. And what you get to finally is that, like I said in the beginning, is you want God to totally consume your will, because you realize that it is operating out of a very finite, limited mind that can only perceive one aspect of a reality, and only that from its own perception. And when you realize that you can't love perfectly, you can't act in the wisdom that you need to, therefore you can't gain the peace and the rest that you truly desire. You need God's will to consume you. But that's a long process to come to that, and we have to understand first who is the true Heavenly Father, because in this darkness He has many images. And that's why I mentioned in my previous videos, Connecting 1, 2, 3 Connected, how to spend that time to find that communion. Because to understand who He is, you can sense His love. You can learn of Him. That's what our faith is ultimately, is that in this darkness we're learning who He is on the outside of the womb, because He's waiting for us to come to birth. And that means that our soul is developed in such a way that it can actually function in harmony with the Spirit of God. So it's operating in the truths, it's operating in the love. And again, you can't do that perfectly on your own. You need Him to fill you and complete you. But our soul has to go through a certain preparation. And so it's important to understand, to come into a unity with the Father, you once need soul development, which is by that love. As you seek that divine love, which you will learn His truth in that, then that changes you. Love purifies you. It totally changes you inside out. And you gain the truths along the way, because you can't love without truth. Because if I have every intention of loving someone, that's great. But if I don't understand how to talk to them, how to perceive them, the right thing to do, if I don't have the wisdom in the situation, I'm handicapped. I can't love them like I want to. So our motive is to love, but when we love perfectly, in all sincerity, out of the deepest, truest place, then that wisdom follows that. Okay? That's when you're moving into and being taught by God what love is. And a lot of people think they know what love is. But I will tell you, there's a natural love that most of us are kind of aware of. But there is a divine love that is far beyond anything that we've experienced or witnessed here, that as you seek that communion with the Father, that He will teach you. And that is what will absolutely change your soul. In every single way. It actually absolutely changes your life in ways that bring all that you truly desire. And with that, I'll end.